Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because it's more important than I am, and that's all the introduction I need to do right now because time is tight. I'm going to cover one point briefly, then I'm going to get into the title of this one. Now, the first point I want to cover is this. Black folks cannot afford an argument over two white political parties. The Democrats and Republicans have pretty much, in the end, been the same, and that is how Reconstruction ended. Reconstruction ended with a compromise between the white North and the white South that Rutherford B. Hayes would be put into the president's office, and in exchange, federal troops would be withdrawn from the South that were enforcing the rights, the voting rights of black people and other rights of black folks. And that was the end of that. And then came the black codes and Jim Crow and the mass incarceration from that point, and the re-enslavement of black people under the 13th Amendment. This was something that both parties agreed to. That right there is enough for us to never ever have any loyalty towards either one. Malcolm did not endorse either political party, and neither did Ice Cube. Sometimes I feel like Malcolm because when I'm telling these things right now, too many won't listen. And I mean, even a lot of the Muslims don't want to hear it. The way that you can work with either party is that you go to both of them with your guard up. When they see that you are guarded, then they're more likely to give you a more pleasant working relationship than either one of you expected. When you go to either of them with your guard down, that is when the snake in them kicks in and says, his guard is down. You can inject the poison. Understand that, gentlemen. Now, we're fast moving to a point where we can no longer forgive those who remain loyal to the Democrats, but we've always known why we could not afford loyalty to the Republicans. We've always known that, and I don't want to hear about reconciliation. Reconciliation is not going to come between these two. White folks may work on bipartisan issues all the time. We don't have that option. Or the luxury, I should say. We're going to have to be literally independent. That's it. If the black woman does not want to join in the black political independence, we have BMI, black male independence, but that means independence. That means you cannot afford a loyalty to either one. You must be loyal to our interest. And it is one thing to be moral, and that means that you refuse to do wrong to someone else. That's actually a necessary thing, but it is altogether something different. What we're talking about doing, we're still thinking dichotomously. You black Republicans are still thinking dichotomously. Stop it. You're no better than somebody that's blindly, as a matter of fact, you're even worse. Because at least those that are blindly loyal to the Democrats have usually not heard why they should not be. You have heard why we should not be blindly loyal to either party, and you jump on the Republicans. Still worse. Still worse. That's all I need to say about that. I'm with Edwin Anderson. Good job, blood. Next, let me go ahead and point out this thing about choose better. Gentlemen, you're going to hear them saying, well, you should just choose better when you start talking about the things they're doing wrong. Let me tell you why that's crap when they say it, and it's absolutely correct when we say it. Number one, they have choices we don't. They start their young lives off with choices we don't. They don't even have to be grown. There are too many men offering them these choices. Now, these too many men are not the majority of us, because most of us ain't pedophiles. And pedophilia means you want someone that is below puberty, but most of us aren't even into teeny boppers who've hit puberty but just aren't mature enough. Most of us aren't even into that. The thing is that the few that are don't have a limit. Just like I've said, there are many men that are interested in men, but if you are a straight man, they'll leave you alone. You have a minority that are booty bandits. They want to convert straight men into their bedrooms, but they don't have a limit, so they're going to continue again and again. So 5 of them could become famous in the city, because they're going to always try to be recruiting straight men. So every straight man in the environment that they know is going to know about these guys, and then so they make the worst type famous. Same thing with these dudes. A few of them that like teeny boppers are going to make men famous for wanting teens. Okay? Now, keep this in mind too, gentlemen. Nonetheless, those women have that option. Most men are going to grow up as young men, and they're never going to have the option of somebody even their own age, let alone an older woman. It will not be an option, period. It's not going to happen. So they start their lives off with more options than we have. They go most of their lives with more options than we have. Choosing better is not something you can just tell men. It's just like when Steve Harvey asked that light-skinned brother Donovan on his show, well, then why don't you just make more money? Yeah, if there was a switch for that, we would all press it. It's not how it works. This is something we should be telling them because they have the options. This is not something they should be telling us because they have done all the hard work to make sure that we do not have those options. They're not saying to you, choose better because they think you have a choice. They're actually saying to you, why don't you just choose better? Because what they're really saying is, it doesn't exist. We know because we refuse to be any better than what you're talking about. The only way we're going to be any better is if we we might be better if you're Superman, sure, but you have to be Superman for that. Doesn't matter that he doesn't exist, he's not real, that what we're saying is illogical. Still, that's what it's going to take. That's where the buttons are. They ain't there for you. End of story. So don't let them tell you that. When they tell you that, you say, no, that's crap. That's not something you tell a man. That's something we should be telling y'all. For us, choosing better means we have to bounce, because in the West, it is very simple. And the BasedPluto recorded on this already. I did a recording last night. I kept getting interrupted. Now I'm recording again, but I saw his recording this morning, my time. He was on it. That's not what happens. All you got to do is say, these are the standards I have to meet, so therefore these are the standards she must meet. And simply by doing that, you will have eliminated almost all of the ones in the West, period. Because you have to act a certain way and look a certain way. And even then, if you act the way they want and you look the way they want, then your looks don't matter anymore because they've tamed you, so to speak, and domesticated you to act the way they want. So you're no longer a novelty and they leave you for someone else. You're the one without the options, not them. That's you. You're the one that doesn't have that option. You can simply say, okay, look, be a medium size, in medium shape. Be cute and know how to act. Treat a man like you want to be treated. That right there, treat a man like you want to be treated, is something that's going to eliminate the bulk of them, even when they're out of shape. And most of them are going to be, because they can. They've been told they can. So you are actually denied the options to choose. They're not. The only thing we can do is to deny them the options to choose. You're not part of the problem. You're not that homosexual. You're not that, you're not that dude that they can, you're not the one that brings the drama to their lives. You're not the one that makes them sick and tired. Great. You know what? Don't make yourself available to them. Now, they complain and say that that's what's already going on with the men we want. But see, that's not because of anything other than the fact that the men they want are already such a narrow proportion anyway. That's still their fault, because they can pass up a whole bunch. And it's their fault because when they get older and the SMV drops, then they can start noticing men they could not have possibly noticed before, or men they could have only noticed for utilitarian purposes. And even when their SMV drops, they're still looking at these men for utilitarian purposes. It's just that now they're saying, in exchange for what I want to take from you, now you can get some of these old, worn out walls. That's the only difference. Don't even let them tell you choose better. A middle school classmate of mine tried that with me. She's now LGBTQ, living in New York. Somehow found me on FB. Now she's trying that. I put up a post about something, and I'm not talking about under the Akila Nyeusi account. I'm talking about under my own account that I already had. She came in and responded to the post and said, well, just choose better. And I said, this is not a choice that most normal men are going to have. A very small minority of men are going to get the option to choose better, get better options to choose. Most of you have your minds made up that normal men are going to be stuck with this and only this and nothing else. And she said to me, that sounds kind of incelish. Maybe you should level up. So then I knew what she'd been listening to. And I said to her, I'm going to be nice, and I'm going to say this one more time. This is not about me. This is not about my level. The fact is that if all men did what you said, the same proportion of men would still be in the same situations they're in now. 87% would still be, or 87 to 93% would still be the ones none of you want. And the worst of you would still be demanding the same 7 to 13 top percent of men when it comes to height, income, muscles, social status, fame, these things. You would still be eliminating the same proportion of men if we all leveled up. If anything, we probably need to level down in terms of what we offer you all. I didn't tell her that Danielle George had said that black women are never going to shape up until black men leave, because she and I weren't talking about specifically black people. But gentlemen, the way that you choose better, again, is that you do the best you can for yourself. But when you finally decide, okay, I'd like to be with someone, you bounce. And you start by working on things that can allow you to make money elsewhere. And you bounce. And whoever you get with, you do not bring to the States. Maybe to visit, but you do not bring them to the States. Absolutely not. They're going to get enough. If you live in a major developed city anywhere in the third world, they're still going to get enough bad influence. You don't do that. Absolutely not. You don't take them to the States with you. If you were in Malaysia, you can find traditional ones, but you don't want to be in Kuala Lumpur doing that. You don't want to take a village chick to Kuala Lumpur. You see what I'm saying? You're better off living in, let's say, maybe Penang Island, or maybe Langkawi Island, Kedah State. You're better off doing that, because even then there are different influences, but you can find those that hold on to the better influence. That's a possibility. Same in Indonesia. You probably don't want to take someone from Sundan province into Jakarta. You may not want to do that. That could be bad enough. It just depends, and it could go either way. But taking them to the state, that's how you choose better. You choose better where she's from, and you choose where you don't take her. That's how you choose better. Because there is absolutely no way in the West you're going to get them to change their ways until you're done with them, until they see they do not have options. And you don't wait until their S&P drops to show them they don't have options. You're going to have enough DC, if you know what that means, to deprive them of options when they're young. Even then, you're not doing it because they're going to change. You're doing it because at that point you understand that it's too late for them to change. You see, Western women and black people in general have an NUITL problem, an NUITL attitude problem. Not until it's too late. That's how most of us think, and sisters are even worse about that than brothers. Not until it's too late will I change things. A lot of brothers had that. You can see it in the manosphere. I can tell by the way you all type. You didn't care about becoming literate in English when it was free. Now you're adults. Not until it's too late. Then when I say, you can't convince me of anything because you can't spell and punctuate properly, then y'all want to pitch a fit. Yeah, I'm going to use that. And no, it's not deflecting. You niggas sound stupid trying to convince me of something that I've seen the opposite of, and you can't spell and punctuate it, and English is your first language. So I'm not deflecting. I'm telling you straight up, you've already undermined your credibility. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as an inarticulate person getting up and making a speech, but they're inarticulate, and they're using words outside of their proper meaning. It's the same thing. So guess what? If a nigga does not know that a hostage is not something you order for breakfast on the side of some pancakes, he can't make a speech about that type of stuff. End of story. Well, this is the written form of that. Because you were in school with an NUITL attitude, not until it's too late. And what we're seeing is the Western women in general having the same thing. You can only choose better by choosing elsewhere. That's it. And I want to thank the BasedPluto, because while I was trying to record something like this and I kept getting interrupted again and again and again and again and again, he finally came out with one. So thank you so much. Listen, I appreciate that, man. So to the audience, I hope one day that what I've said will not be necessary and not be true anymore. But in the meantime, I hope it helps you. Thanks for listening. Black heart, black mind, black out. Assalamu alaikum. Black heterosexual non-select male power just because they don't like it. And black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day.